now we're back and we still have Dayo Adedayo on the house. I like your name. It's like a rhythm.
I don't know why my paternal grandmother gave me the name, but there's always a reason for everything. And I usually tell people there is only one Dayo Adedayo. Any other one is a counterfeit.
Oh, what are the ones that were born before you? The ones that are born before you, because you're supposed to pay royalties to those.
I try as much as possible to pay my royalty and pay my dues to them.
Okay.
In Yoruba land, we always give respect to our elders. Even if it is 24 hours, you still have to pay your dues.
Interesting. Anyway, let's go to the business of the day, which is photography. Before you came on set, you showed me some pictures, and that really wowed me. Quite a number of Nigerians don't even know Nigeria. And this will be an opportunity for them to know Nigeria. But before we go into the pictures, why did Dayo Adedayo, why did he decide to go into photography? I mean, you could have gone into any other vocation or profession, but you chose photography. Why?
There's a reason for everything in life. Why? I wouldn't know. Someone up there is looking at me. But initially when I was in secondary school, I was really good in history and literature, and then my dream was to become a lawyer. Of course, I failed my JAMB, and I have to do something else. But I've always been taking pictures since I was a teenager. I'm a very shy person. You might find that very hard to believe.
Really hard. That's a hard sell.
But I usually hide behind the camera. And of course, I started doing it, and one way or the other, people started noticing what I do. And then it got to a stage whereby I felt very uncomfortable not knowing what I was doing, because then I was into social photography. Then I said, okay, I decided to go back to school to go and study photography. And of course, going to school just changed the whole perception of photography, and that is what made me what I am today. And when I'm talking to the younger ones, the most important thing I cherish most in life is education. Whatever you do, even if you sell akara by the roadside, try as much as possible to learn how they sell akara, how to fry akara, because with education, it opens up your mind and you see and know much more than you think you know. Without me going to school to study photography, there is no way on earth I would have been doing what I'm doing today. I will still be doing what I think is photography, which is social photography, taking weddings, celebrations, anniversaries.
Maybe doing selfie, like us.
And luckily, selfie today, you can even make money out of selfie. If as a photographer, if you know your onions, all you have to do is to put the mobile phone on manual, so you tell the mobile phone what to do instead of just putting it up and clicking.
Interesting. So you said you studied photography in school.
Right. That's right.
You went there purposefully to study photography.
That's right.
How did your people around you, how did they react to that kind of that decision when you said, okay, this is what I want to do? That's
the only job I've ever known that I've really done. Aside from when I was in Nigeria before leaving, where I have to work as a laborer on a what is it called, on a building site. Aside from that, photography, anybody that knows me will tell you that's all I've been doing all my life.
When did you connect with photography?
I would say at the age of 20. Then all my friends since then, I have their pictures till tomorrow. There is nobody that I know since the age of 20. I'm 52 now, so over 30 years, I have pictures of everybody that I know, and all those pictures are still intact because I keep things. So from the age of 20 onwards, while my friends then, we go out to take their girlfriends out to go and buy things for them in Leventis, is really on Akerele Street. I go out then I go to Juelegba, Uncle Joe's photo lab to go and print pictures.
So did you go into photography out of, for economic reasons or for passion? Because from what I deduced, it's like you went into it, maybe to also make ends meet at that time.
Not really. When I was doing it abroad, I was moonlighting because I don't have my papers, so I can't work in the main industry. In the early 80s, no, in the late 80s up to late 90s, there is no way you won't know me. You know, I became so famous in what I was doing, and for me, going to school is not just about, it's not economic, it's more to know what I'm actually working on. You know, because if you don't know what you are working on, how will you be able to justify your pay? And going to school, it just opens up my brain, opens up my mind, and in school you'll be taught the business of photography, which really helped me a lot. Money to me is irrelevant in life. People think money is it, but money to me is not, is irrelevant. The most important thing in life is love.
So your photography, the love for it was driven by passion.
Passion. What I have, in another million years, nobody will remember Dangote, but people will still see my work. Yes. If you carry a Nigerian passport today, all the pictures on the pages of Nigerian passport are my work. And whether we like it or not, one or two passports will survive till that time. And people will make reference to the person that takes the picture. If you look at the 100 Naira notes, at least in a day, I have nothing less than 10 million Nigerians carrying my work in their wallets. And all Nigerians that are traveling today abroad, that are here born at the moment or at any international airport, are carrying my work. So how much money can you pay for that?
Good. Now, you went to school to study photography. Before you went to school, you were already into photography.
That's right.
Can you tell us the difference? Yes, education broadens your mind and, you know, gives you a good perspective, a better perspective as to what you're doing. Now, for those who, the would-be photographers who are looking up to you, what exactly, what was the defining factor once you got into school and then you studied it and then you got a broader perspective to photography? What was it that was different about your work afterwards?
Technically, you notice the difference immediately, because most of the work being done out there today, if you see people who own studios anywhere in the world, over 90% of them are not trained photographers. They didn't go to school. And there is no way you will put on a wig and gown and call yourself a lawyer, or a stethoscope and call yourself a doctor, without going through law school or medical school. There used to be that problem in Nigeria some few years ago, about 30 odd years ago, when you have the draftsmen and architects who have been to school. The draftsmen will say there's nothing they could not do. But of course, it got to a point whereby they realized that they don't know much as the architects. So coming back to photography, by the time you go to school, you know the history, the fundamentals, because it's not just about carrying the camera. Going to school will teach you, oh, what am I taking the pictures for? What do I want to do? What is the end product? How do I want it? Because as it is today, a greater percentage of those who are taking photography, who are taking pictures in Nigeria today, who call themselves photographers. All they know about cameras is just the Canon and the Nikon. And those ones are the lowest of the lowest in cameras. And when a photographer sees a picture, they don't even ask you what camera do you use. It's the format. Because you have the 35, you have the medium format, and the medium format are in three places. You have the 645, 66, and 67. You have the large format. Then you have the 10.8, which is the biggest part of it all. You know, so for me, even though they are taking fantastic pictures, commercially, they're just into commercial pictures, whereas the people on the street will say, oh, this is good, this is nice. But when you come to the people who are really in control of images, once they see those things, there will be so many things that will be taken out for you. Then again, going to school broadens your knowledge deeper, because going to school to study photography doesn't necessarily mean you will end up being a photographer. You might be working in the forensic laboratory of either the military or police. You might be a curator, because education just opens up your mind to so many things that you can do. And you might not even end up touching anything photography. You might be doing, because the people that are really making money out of photography are not photographers. The people who are manufacturing the cameras, the equipment, the tripods, the filters, they're the one making the money. not the photographers themselves. The photographers are just the end users. And then again, you might not even touch camera. You might be working in the dark room. And today we have the digital dark room, working on your desktop, using any application. The most important one, the common one is the Photoshop, And the whole photographers, they all work together. You might be working, say you want to print, because one thing is for you to take pictures, another one for you to print. And what we have in Nigeria at the moment, all the guys that were taking pictures are still the same guys processing. They're still the same guys printing. So as I'm talking to you today in Nigeria, there is not one single professional laboratory to print your work, and there is no one shop in Nigeria, professional shop, where you can go to buy equipment. All the ones that we have now, they are just traders.
Okay, great. So now we'll have a perspective to photography and what it's all about. Now let's go to Dio. You mentioned earlier that your works are reflected in the Nigerian passport and even on our Naira notes. How did you get there?
There is something I used to tell the younger ones when I'm talking to the younger generation. I'm not the best, far from being the best in the country, but what I would gladly say is, since the creation of this country called Nigeria in 1914, nobody 3 times has ever done what I have done for this country. To have a compilation, an encyclopedia of all the visuals, not virtually everything, but over 90%, a greater percentage of what is in Nigeria in one volume. Probably that is what the people that God sent saw and say, oh, let's do this. The dream is, like NTA, if you're talking about television production, no matter who is working in the country today, NTA is still a reference point, because that's the training ground. My dream is, if you're looking for any pictures in Nigeria from anywhere in the world, your first reference point will be Dio Adedayo. And that is what I've been doing. We've all seen and know all the terrible things about our country, because that is what I've been doing to Nigeria, which really pains me a lot. Because this country is so beautiful, it's amazing, and I keep telling people it's the most beautiful country in the world. Really? Come and show me the country that is better than Nigeria. Show me what makes that country better than Nigeria, and I will show you 101 things in Nigeria that makes my country to be better than yours. Unfortunately, most men are married, but they do not see the beauty in their wives. You just see, oh, they caught one woman cheating. Is it the fault of the woman? The answer is no, it's the man. Because if you have attention to your wife, there is no way on earth the woman will go out of the house. What we are doing to Nigeria is this. It's like me calling my mother a witch. At a point, people will start running away from my mom because she is a witch. Then it gets to another point where they will start running away from me because I'm the son of a witch. And that is what we are doing to Nigeria. People running to Europe, North America to go and get passport. Are they not ashamed of themselves? You are still a Nigerian by birth, by color, by everything. And people know that you don't belong. So when you die, you now say, come and bury me in my village. Is Nigeria a mortuary? So the way I see things is completely different from the way most people see things in Nigeria.
I want to know how you metamorphosed into this big, great Dio Adedayo that we know today. Tell us your story. What's your story? I
was lucky to be born in Nigeria. I'm going to die in Nigeria. Thank God for Nigeria giving me the basic things of life in terms of education, health, and of course I thank my mother for accepting to my father's proposal, because without the two of them I won't be here.
You're so funny.
There is a new book I've just published it came out just about 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago, Nigeria 2.0, where you will see things in Nigeria that most people are not even aware of that are in Nigeria. But having said that, I have another edition coming out, God sparing my life, in another 3 or 4 years. It's going to be very, very expensive. This will be a comprehensive book on Nigeria in terms of size, in terms of pagination. It's going to weigh about 30 to 35 kilogram, and it's going to be a limited edition book. But Nigeria 2.0, you will see Nigeria from the south of Nigeria, Delta State, going through Cross River State, landing you into the desert of Borno State, and all the historical things in Nigeria. And doing, in the process of taking those pictures, I just wonder, why can't we have peace in Nigeria? What is in the Niger Delta is actually more than oil and gas. Because when you fly over the creeks, you see the water flowing through the vegetation. Why can't we have a boat cruise, ship cruising right from the southernmost tip of Nigeria, with a flag in that place and a medal to say, oh, have you been to the end of Nigeria? To have a medal to say, yes, I've been to the end of Nigeria. The boat will take you from there up to the confluence. You can either disembark, come back south, or if you want to go to Niger, you go to Niger. If you want to go to Benue, you go to Benue, you know. And from there, you can just start from the Sahel Savannah, going from Bauchi all the way down, stopping in Yankari to enjoy yourself. If you want more, you go to Taraba, where you have the Gashaka Gunti, the last of the rainforest. From there, you go on the Mambila Plateau, the most beautiful place in Nigeria. People talk about Obudu. Mambila Plateau is 1,000 times much more better than Obudu. But what do you have on the Mambila? Nothing. Why? Because the state is getting money every month. So that is why, personally, I believe in resource control. Osun State have no business being poor. Taraba State should be the richest state in Nigeria. What are you going to do in Europe or North America on holiday? To see what? Just buildings, history. But what do we do in Nigeria? We stop history in our schools. So for me, I still want someone, maybe you can have the person on your program. Let's talk about this. Nigeria is the most beautiful country in the world, and we have the best people. When Dora Akinloye, may her soul rest in peace, said, a great nation, good people. Fantastic. I had double flat tire in 2006 on my way from Kefi to Abuja after 9 p.m. at night, where I just went around the curve and it slashed 2 tires. I lost 2 tires. And the first car I flagged now stopped without knowing what was going on, whether I'm an armed robber or I want to do anything sinister. Stopped. What happens? Same car, same tire size. This guy changed, because I've never changed a tire before. This guy changed everything for me. Can you buy a brand new car in America, drive out of your house, or Okada will run into you and prostrate, and you just say, okay, go. God will see us through. That can never happen anywhere in Nigeria, anywhere in the world. This happens often in Nigeria.
You've talked extensively about Nigeria. You, Daya, what are your landmark achievements? I want to know.
How do I put this into context now? Achievement, one, to be who I am today. I grew up in a village, Okeliwo, Ijebu-Fe. Ijebu is local government of Ogun State. I lost my dad at the age of 7. I went to a local school. When I say local, pretty local school. We don't have light in our house. Mud house. 11 of us, no, about 13 of us sleeping on the floor and our bed wet, you know. From there to a secondary school, local secondary school as well, which nobody can do in Nigeria today, if you're sensible to send. And for me to come out from that kind of environment to be where I am, I will give honor and glory to the guy upstairs looking after me. Aside from my immediate life of who I am today, the best thing I can say I've ever done, first, before the passport and the money, was to have my images on the walls of the presidential wing of the airport in Abuja. The day I put those pictures up, they're still there till tomorrow. I was in tears for 30 minutes uncontrollably, because I just could not believe someone. I hawk boiled yam from primary 4 before going to school in the morning. I hawk bread in the afternoon after coming back from school. just to be able to eat. We don't go to the market to buy anything. We farm ourselves. We don't buy meat. We don't buy fish. My maternal grandfather was a hunter. May he so rest in peace. If he has to eat protein, if he doesn't come back from the farm with food, that is it for us. You know, and for me to paste picture where the president is seated, it really touches me. And when I phoned the Minister of Information, then Frank Nweke, may God bless him more, he said, no, don't thank me. It's your work. I said, but I'm not the best in the country, you know. Then the passport now came. Everything just blew out of hand. So whatever I'm doing now, I have everything to give to Nigeria. It's not about, life is not about money. It's so unfortunate. People think money. When you are dead, your children will not even see the money. That's the truth. If not, there won't be Tony Elumelu today. There won't be Jim Ovie. There won't be everybody around. Who is Tinubu's father? Who is Atiku's father? Who is Tony Elumelu's father? If not, you'll be behind the SB Bakaris, the Fernandez. Where are their children? That's the way nature works. For me, it's not about money. Nigeria has been very kind to me. So wherever I am and I hear the national anthem, my right hand always goes to my heart to say, oh, this is my country. Thank you, Lord. You know, and I don't know why people don't appreciate little things. Because at the end of the day, you have all the money. Can you drive from Lagos by 12 midnight to go to Ibadan with all the money in the world? It's not possible. Absolutely impossible. Is it not better for you not to have a penny in your pocket and say, I want to go to Abuja and be in Abuja at 5 a.m. in the morning and leave Lagos at 11 p.m.? Things you just do abroad. It's only in Nigeria people will be traveling. They have to do prayer session. God, let us be there. When abroad, they will just phone someone, I'm coming. Okay, when are you arriving? I'll come and meet you at the train station. You know, so for me, it's not about money. Life is more about love. Chinua Achebe died. In another 1 million years, if there's still going to be this world, people will still be reading things fall apart. How much more has King Sunny Ade got? How much has Ebenezer Obey got? You mentioned J.J. Okocha today. Everybody will say football. You mentioned Kanu Wako. You mentioned Segun Odegbami. They will say it's football. So for me, you mentioned Dayo Adedayo. It's photography. And no amount of money in the world. What I have in my archives in terms of pictures of Nigeria, all the money in the central bank can't buy it. Because I've taken pictures, some areas have been destroyed, some have been reconstructed, like the Abuja Road from the airport to town. I have all the pictures where you still have those trees around. Tell me, are you going to recreate that? Absolutely impossible. Several places, the Barbish, when it was still Barbish, when the road was really bad, I have all those pictures. And very soon, I'm sure in the next 5 years, that road won't be the same again. So are you going to recreate that? So several pictures. I have over 2 million Nigerian pictures in my archives, and not all the money in Central Bank. My dream, actually, is to work with the National Archives. We don't teach history. We don't know those who are there yesterday. So those who are there today, do they think people are going to remember them tomorrow?
Okay. You know, you have quite a number of collections here in books, in prints. These are the hard copies. We also have the soft copies. Definitely, this is not the last of Dayo Adedayo on Saturday night. This is just the preamble. This is just the beginning. This is an introduction of who Dayo Adedayo stand for. Because before we came on set, you had shown me some pictures that actually blew my mind, and they're so historical. I think you should also share that with our viewers. This will just be an intro. The next episode, when you come on, you'll be telling us, we will actually be talking in pictures.
Okay.
You show Nigeria and Nigerians the beauty God has endowed us with, or nature has endowed us with. So let's look at the three major ethnic groups. Okay. We'll talk about the Hausa,
the cover
Igbo,
of this
is Hausa, Igbo, and Yorubas.
So we go to the Igbos.
You start off with the Igbos.
We start off with the Igbos.
Okay.
Who originated from Anambra State, but originally the Igbos are known to be Jews. And if you look at the Igbos' lifestyle in totality, they act and behave like Jews. That's the Igbos. And if you go to my book page 46 Nigeria 2.0, you will read more about it.
Okay.
About the
and then you
Igbos.
look at
The throne of the first Eze.
This picture
This
itself.
picture itself, this is the original place where they all migrated from to the rest of Igbo land.
Okay.
If you look down there, these are cowries from the Star of David.
Okay, go on.
The Star of David in Israel, and you have a lot of Jews coming actually to this place.
What is this picture? What does this picture represent? And how? What exactly are you trying to push with this one?
This is the throne of the first Eze of the Igbos.
Okay.
From here, we now go to Enugu Aguleri.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of this village in Anambra State, Enugu Aguleri.
Okay.
From there, you go to the Yoruba. There is no dispute in Yoruba land that Ile-Ife is the source of the Yoruba. Nobody is disputing that from time immemorial. But you have Okwa Oromiyo there, Oromiyo staff, you know, which when he died, you know, it's an opposite that was down there.
Okay.
Then from there, you now go to Daura.
This is for the
For the
north.
Hausa Fulani. Daura, their progenitor actually is from Baghdad, present day, the capital of present day Iraq. And you have a well in Daura, Kusugu, it's called Kusugu well. You know, this well, there used to be a snake there. That snake would not allow anybody to fetch water on just one day a week. That is the only day they goes there to fetch water. Then what now happened is this guy came into Daura town in those days, thirsty, no water to drink. So what he now did, they said, no, you can't go to the well. And he was a warrior. So he has no choice but to go to that place. They said, okay, that is the only place you can fetch water. So he killed the snake. So when you are driving on Nigerian roads, you see some trucks from the north with a snake being cut off with a sword by a well. They were referring to Kusugu well. So their king or queen then used to be a woman. You know, so she now gave birth. She married the man because he was a very strong man, and they gave birth to 7 sons, who now became the 7 prominent rulers in Hausa land today.
Okay, so what you have just done in summary is to tell us the roots of the Igbos, that they're coming from
Aguleri,
from
Enugu
Aguleri,
Aguleri,
and originally from
Israel.
And then the south, the Yorubas, they originated
The
from
Yorubas are from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay, and then the Hausas
Are from Baghdad.
from Baghdad, Iraq. Wow.
The father was originally from Baghdad because the 7 most prominent emirs in the north today are from Daura.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. That is interesting. So let's leave it on this cliffhanger. Let's leave it on this. This is really 2.0. It's like the phones and the series.
Absolutely.
You know? So this is 2.0. I'm sure you come up with
3.0,
3.0 and 4.0 and all of that.
That's right.
We can't get enough of you. We will definitely bring you on, and so that you can talk about Nigeria in pictures, right? It's been a pleasure having you on Saturday night. Dayo Adedayo, the photographer with a vision to capture Nigeria in pictures. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on Saturday night.
Thank you.